Joining me now, the original hockey insider, Bob McKenzie. First of all, Bob, how was your summer?
Outstanding. Lots of golf, lots of relaxation. Although I'm back here talking to you now, so it's just okay, I guess.
Yeah, I understand. Very sobering when that happens. Bob, last year, we had a generational talent that we knew was going to go first overall, and the Chicago Blackhawks were fortunate to win the Connor Bedard sweepstakes. So, Bob, how does the class of 2024 stack up?
Well, it's an interesting, everybody talked last year, the Connor Bedard draft was fantastic because of Connor Bedard, but it was also fantastic because of Adam Fantilli and Leo Carlsson and on down the line. There were 5, 6, 7 players that were all first-line projections in the National Hockey League. This year, there's a sort of a big three at the top, and you've got Macklin, Celebrini, you've got Cole Yzerman from the United States, and you've got a Russian by the name of Ivan Demidov. So there is a big three, and they're all first-line kind of guys. It drops off a little bit after that, but there's still some real good players, and the scouts are generally enthused about it. But it's too early to call a guy like Celebrini generational, but he's an impressive player.
Well, let's talk about Macklin Celebrini. Tell us more about him, Bob. Is there a current NHL player that Celebrini reminds you of?
I'm not very good at that whole comparable thing. Craig Button, for what it's worth, says Macklin Celebrini reminds Craig of Jonathan Toews. If you ask Macklin Celebrini, he likes to pattern his game after Toews, after Sidney Crosby, players like that. What I can tell you is what the scouts talk about with this kid, and that is he projects to be a point-producing, high-end, prolific #1 center in the National Hockey League. Right now, he's not quite 6 feet tall, not quite 190 pounds, but by the time he fills out, and he's still a little physically immature, he's going to be over 6 feet. He's going to be close to 200 pounds, and he's got all the tools that you look for in an elite #1 point-producing NHL center. He's a great skater. He's got a great shot. He's got great playmaking ability. His hockey sense is off the charts. He's got a flair for the dramatic. He's got a commitment to play without the puck. All the elements are there for this guy to be a #1 center in the National Hockey League. And 9 of the 10 scouts that we surveyed for our preseason rankings had him at #1. So until further notice, I guess we can call this the Macklin Celebrini draft.
Fair enough. How much, though, Bob, could this list change between now and the final list that comes out in June?
Well, isn't that always the question? I mean, preseason list, the race hasn't even really started yet. They've just got to get going here. But, you know, Celebrini's got a lead on everybody. But by the same token, a lot of the scouts that had Celebrini at #1 overall on our preseason rankings list admitted that Yzerman was a top consideration for them. It wasn't a coin toss necessarily, but it was really close. Yzerman's that good. So that's going to be fun to watch over the course of this season. Whether Yzerman can close the gap and go by his old prep school teammate. And we can't forget about Demidov, although I got to be honest with you, I can't imagine any scenario where a Russian is going to go first overall ahead of Macklin Celebrini and or Cole Yzerman. But Demidov's a really good one, and the scouts will be keeping an eye on him. He's got a contract that keeps him in Russia through the 24-25 season. He's going to have tougher time getting playing minutes in the KHL. But we saw last year with the draft, with the big defenseman Simashev going to Arizona as high as he did, with Matvei Michkov going 7th overall to the Philadelphia Flyers. The Russian factor didn't seem to be as big a factor last year as it has been some other years. And so Demidov deserves right now to be in that group with Celebrini and Yzerman at the top of the draft. And that's going to be fun watching those three guys. And a lot of good defensemen in the draft this year, Jay. 2 of our top 5 are defensemen. 5 of our top 10 and 8 of our top 16 are defensemen. And there's some real good offensive right shot defensemen, especially Canadians, in this draft as well.
Never too early to talk about the draft. And for the complete list of Bob's draft rankings, all you have to do is go to tsn.ca. Bob, thanks for taking a little time for us today.
Thanks, Jay.